We have more to look at, though. We have a batch of new cards from Burst Protocol, multiple different archetypes getting support here. And this one's not even support. This one is an entirely new archetype, I think. At least I've never heard of it. Elvennotes Burst Protocol is a new archetype. They're mentioning Medius here. So is this the new lore archetype? Ah, okay. Ooh. So this is the third one in the gang, basically, between Archmage, Doomsy, and now we got Elvennotes. I didn't know it was the new lore archetype. That makes it more exciting, I guess. Elvennotes Lucina, level 6 fire spellcaster, 2500 attack. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand to your center main monster zone. Okay. A free level 6 extender for everything, and but you have to have a free center main monster zone. So I guess that's where from now on the Nibiru token goes. This is where the Nibiru token goes now, I guess, is the center, in case your opponent plays this. If it becomes meta relevant, of course. During your main phase, you can add one Elvennotes monster from your deck to your hand, except Lucina. Okay. Good start. Alright? Good start. Immediate special summon and add. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can switch the locations of this card you control and the monster in your center main monster zone. Then you can return a level 6 or lower monster your opponent controls to the hand. Okay, what is this archetype up to? What is this archetype up to? They're dancing, I guess. they're schmoving. So I can summon it to the center zone, but then during my opponent's turn, I don't actually want it to be in the center zone, which I guess could be an interesting way to build an archetype. Is if you have others that summon somewhere else and then they switch positions and then do stuff. It's, you know, okay, sure. Let's see. We have Elvennotes Diana, level 6 water spellcaster. You can only special summon with the first effect once per turn, second and third effect once per turn each. You can special summon this card from your hand to your center main monster zone. During your main phase, you can place an Elvennotes continuous spell from your deck on your field. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can switch locations. Then you can banish a random card from your opponent's hand face up until the end phase. Jesus Christ, this is powerful stuff. Like, if this concept ends up working out, these are good cards. It's too early to say because immediately I'm identifying one problem, which is that we have a bunch of level 6 monsters that all, or presumably all, want to be specialed into the center main monster zone, which once you've summoned one of them, you cannot summon the other. But individually, these two are very, very powerful cards. Because we have a free extender, we have a +1 on summon that probably leads to more pluses in both cases, and we have a disruption effect on it as well. So, okay. We have Elvennotes Fortuna. You can special summon this card from your hand to your center main monster zone. During your main phase, you can place an Elvennotes continuous trap from your hand or deck face up to the field. During your opponent's turn, switch locations of this card you control and the monster in your center main monster zone. Then you can return a face-up spell trap on the field to the hand. This is not even during the main phase. Like, if I pass my turn with this on the field, I can go draw phase, switch, and hand rip. Right? It's not even main phase. You don't even give your opponent the chance to like activate Dark Ruler or whatever. You just immediately do the thing where you switch and then you banish. It's a random card. You don't get to look at their hand or anything like that, but still. This one is not as powerful as an interruption, but it can be. You know, it basically invalidates like a once per turn field spell or something like that. You know, like you activate a field spell that searches on activation and they go like, nope, I'll bounce that. Okay. Elvennotes Power Patron. Ooh, that's a pretty looking card. Level 1 Fire Fiend Tune. Oh, it's a synchro deck. I guess that makes sense. Archmage was fusion. Doomsday Exceed. So this one is synchro. Okay, how are we gonna bring synchros into the mix here? Level 1 Fire Fiend Tuner. Level 1 Fire, by the way. Not that it matters. You can only use the second and third effect once per turn each. You cannot special from the extra except synchros. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target the monster in your center main monster zone. Increase its level by 3 until the end of this turn. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, you can synchro summon an Elvennotes monster or Junora, the power patron of tuning. If this card is sent to the grave as synchro material, you can add an Elvennotes card from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this card is very similar to the other power patrons, of course. The design, I kind of like the approach to this this season's lore archetype. I will say I kind of like how we are making cards that are like not like Doomsday, Archmage, and Elvennotes. To me, it feels like they are clearly meant to be played as separate decks. They don't all go into the same deck like the Bellstar Slop for the most part, like Azamina, Snake Eye, and so on. I mean, okay, White Forest was its own deck, but you know what I mean. Like these decks are all, they work kind of similar, but very different at the same time. You know, like they all have like the centerpiece of the Medius and then the power patron, which all locks you into the respective summoning mechanic. And then when they go to grave, they search you a card. What all the power patrons do. But okay. So if you start Medius, Medius becomes a level 5 synchro with this, right? Or a level 8 synchro. Because you could go summon Medius in the center column. Or this one can also target itself, right? Target the monster in your center. Yeah, you can summon Medius anywhere and then put this into the center, and then this can increase its own level by 3. It becomes a level 4 tuner. You can make a level 8 synchro as well. So I guess we'll see. Or with any of these, it makes a level 10 synchro or level 7, right? So a lot of different levels we can access here. Let's see what synchros we have. We have the Power Patron of Tuning, level 10. So this one you are supposed to make, I guess. Oh no, it needs 2 non-tuners. 1 tuner plus 2 non-tuner monsters. Okay, for this card synchro summon, you can treat... no, wait. You can treat a monster in your center main monster zone as a tuner. You can only use the second effect once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. Quick effect, you can make all opponent's monsters in the same columns as your Elvennotes monsters unable to be used for fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon until the end of this turn. It's generic? Yeah, but like 1 tuner and 2 non-tuners. But you could make this in every deck as long as the monster in your... It's kind of like a... It is kind of like a... It's kind of like a Chaos Angel in that regard, where you could make it in every deck. It is a level 10 generic Dark Ruler aware. Okay, y'all, calm down. This card is not even close to Dark Ruler in power level, because you're gonna... It's like a Dark Ruler that you can respond to, and that your opponent has to wait for you to put 3 monsters onto the board that equal level 10. And then you can negate their monsters, which, let me tell you, you're not going to get that far. Dark Ruler is good because you start with Dark Ruler and they can't do shit about it. That's what it's good. We can quick summon it with the Power Patron. Yeah, but it's one of those interactions where... It's just one of those interactions where you're most likely going to be like 1 chain too late with these, right? Like, yes, you can summon it on the opponent's turn, but not in response to something that you want to negate, because you're gonna have to chain your effect to synchro summon, then their thing is gonna resolve, then you're gonna summon this, and then you're gonna negate, which sometimes is gonna work out fine, but it's not like, it's not easy and broken. This is like fine. And also the quick effect here is obviously powerful, but it's something that you can play around, and it's it's good though. This part, I think it's less powerful than the power patron for Archmage, for example. Like the power patron for Archmage, I think is like simpler and easier to use and more impactful, where it just like destroys the entire board, you know? Yeah, it's like detonator detaching aggregator to negate something. It's like sometimes it works out in your favor, but usually it's pretty hard to use. It's not once per turn. Yeah, but how often am I going to be able to synchro summon a level 10 monster that needs 2 non-tuners? Like, this is not trivial to summon. The difference is aggregator was free. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a level 10 synchro that needs 3 monsters. I would honestly hesitate to call this a good card. Like, I see that they want you to use it, but I don't know. It's not that strong. Like, it's fine. Okay. Elvennotes Seraphim Stilitia. Level 7 fire plant synchro monster. Generic. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. This card's original attack becomes 3000 while it's in the center main monster zone. During the main phase quick effect, you can special summon a level 6 or lower Elvennotes monster from your hand or grave. Then you can decrease the level of all level 4 or higher monsters currently on the field by 3 until the end of this turn. Also, you can't special from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except synchros. Okay. During the main phase quick effect, special level 6 or lower Elvennotes from your hand or grave. Okay. So it's level 7, brings back a level 6, it becomes level 4, that becomes level 3, so 766 becomes 433. Okay, so this is how you're supposed to quote-unquote cheat out your power patron, which is a lot of work, however. That's a lot of work for this, and I currently don't see the payoff for this card. Because the coolest thing I feel like you can do with this is put it into the center main monster zone, and then in the opponent's turn, bring back an Elvennote monster just so it can switch positions with it. That part I think is interesting, but other than that, it doesn't feel that good to me. All right, Elvennotes, Homecoming Parallelism. Continuous spell. You can only use the second effect once per turn. A monster in your center main monster zone cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can send a monster from your hand or field to the grave. Special summon an Elvennotes monster with a different original attribute from your deck in defense position. Also, you cannot special for the rest of this turn except synchros. Special summon. Send a monster from hand or field. Special summon an Elvennotes monster with a different original attribute from your deck in defense position. Okay, so I assume they all have different attributes. Yep. So that helps you summon Elvennotes from your deck in a different zone so that they can swap, right? Like you wanna summon these to not the center so you can then switch positions. Okay. It's not bad, but for modern standards, for like a consistency / extender card, it's like fine, right? Having to discard a card to summon one from deck is powerful, but not insane. Especially since it locks you to synchros. No. Okay. Elvennotes Reunion. Continuous spell. Your opponent cannot target a monster in the center monster zone with card effects. This card gains these effects based on the attributes of the monster in your center main monster zone. If it's fire or earth, if your synchro attacks, piercing battle damage, water or wind. Other face-off spells cannot be destroyed by card effects. Light or dark, you take no battle damage. This card is unplayable. This card does nothing. What were they thinking? Okay. Elvennotes Oracle, continuous trap card. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. You cannot activate the first and second effect of this card's name in the same chain. Once per turn, you can target a face-up monster you control, move that monster to another zone. When your opponent activates a spell trap, if you control 3 or more Elvennotes monsters, you can negate that effect. Then if you control a synchro monster, you can destroy that card. And Elvennotes Rhapsodia, Maddening Rhapsodia, continuous trap. Your opponent's monsters cannot attack while you have a monster in your center main monster zone. Send a monster from your hand or field to the grave. Target an Elvennote in your grave with a different originality root. Spell summon it. Then, if you control a synchro monster, you can negate the effects of one face-up card your opponent controls until the end of this turn. This is good. Because it can negate spell cards. Like, that's a powerful trap effect. Giving you back an Elvennotes monster in the process. You do have to control a synchro monster for that turn. Yeah. Oh, there's more support for the other archetypes here too. Okay, before I read those, Elvennotes. This feels very unfinished, I would say. Like, I like the concept. The concept seems kind of fun to me. Like revolving around the center monster zone and then like summoning monsters and then switching around. You know, I get it. They're dancing. That's kind of like a cool idea, but it doesn't feel fully fleshed out. And I also don't really see how the synchros play a role here, because what I'm seeing here is that everything revolves around trying to get the main deck monsters onto the field. I personally see no reason to turn these main deck monsters into this thing. I currently just don't see an incentive to summon this card. Why would I send 3 monsters from my field to the graveyard just to do this? And then once this is on the field, all of my other things basically don't really work anymore, right? Like, I want to have 3 Elvennotes monsters to use my trap card to negate a spell trap, and so on and so forth. The idea is you use the main monsters and then Power Patron when they're spent. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, maybe they wanted them to have like one more play after you've done all your dancing, you know? Like, after you've done all your switching around and all your once per turns have been used, you want another way to summon like the thing. At the same time, I don't really see like how you even get to all 3 of these. Like, you go Lucina. Lucina adds you an Elvennotes monster from your deck to your hand, and then you're stuck because Lucina is in the center main monster zone. You don't have a way to get it out of there unless you also, like, basically you're gonna have to 2-card combo at that point with Lucina, right? You're gonna have to like summon a tuner, make this one, and then oh, you search the level 1. Is that an Elvennotes? Yeah, okay, it's Elvennote. My bad. Okay. You don't search one of these 2. You summon Lucina, you search the level 1, you summon the level 1, you make the level 7 in not in the center or not in the center. Then your Power Patron searches you this one. Okay, no, this does get you to all 3 names. Yeah, it does get you to all 3 names. It does. Because this one brings back the one that you use for it. This one would, in this case, bring back the fire one. You have the water one in hand that you can now put into the center, and the water one gets you to the light one because you can search for the spell card, right? And the spell card gets you the light. So that works, right? That combo does work. Yeah, okay. I have my doubts that it's good enough in Advanced Constructed, but I could certainly see trying this in Genesis, maybe. Which is kind of like the same power level as the other 2 archetypes, to be fair, right? That's not necessarily worse than Doomsday or Archmage, because that's basically what the other 2 are at the moment, right? It's like not good enough in Advanced Constructed, but could see playing them in Genesis, which is fine. I mean, I'm fine with that. Doomsday Changer, normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Destroy 1 Doomsday card in your hand, deck, or face-up field except Doomsday Changer. Okay, don't they all have effects when they're destroyed. Isn't this card nice? That card seems nice because they got hella effects when they get destroyed. It's a searcher for everything. Yeah, because everything floats. And you can search this card. Okay. If this card is destroyed by card effect, you can add a Doom Z card from your grave to your hand, except changer, then special a Doom Z from your hand. Yeah. No, this is what I'm talking about. That's an amazing Doom Z card, I think. Yeah. I wish it was an equip. Okay, y'all. I mean, it could have been even better, but come on, this card is good. Theo Realize Liberation, quick play spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you control Medius the Pure, add to your hand or special summon a monster from your deck with 300 attack, 200 defense. Okay, let me guess. The patrons have that, yeah. Not the patron. Yeah, the power patrons have that effect. That stat line. Okay, banish this card from your grave. Target a monster you control is treated as a tuner this turn. Okay, so this card I think is meant to help you play through like imperm on your Medius, because I think in most of the it's like if they negate your Medius, you can do this to still get your patron anyways. Sure. Is there other interesting targets? You guys are saying Kuribo. I don't think we're going to be adding Kuribo with this. Is Skull Servant? Okay. Rex for hire? Wait. This card seems awkward to me, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like the only purpose of this card is to extend through a hand trap when your Medius gets interrupted. But when I draw this card with Medius, and then my Medius doesn't get interrupted, this card seems kind of mediocre to me. Right? Like, and that is, to be fair, that is a trend with the Theo Realize cards. Most of them have been kind of mediocre, I feel like. Like, because aren't the Theo Realize cards are the ones that are like independent of the archetype, right? Like there's Doom Z cards, there's Archmage cards, there is Elvennotes cards now, then there's Medius, and then there's the Theo Realize cards that kind of like could be played with all of the archetypes because all they really need is Medius, right? But as a result, I feel like all of the Theo Realize cards have been kind of kept lower to the ground, which is maybe fair enough, because if one of them ends up being too good, it makes all decks way more powerful that are involved in the archetype, in the lore. But yeah. Okay. TLDR. Elvennotes, interesting concept. Have my doubts that it's going to be strong enough right from the get-go. But interesting. Not a fan of all of the cards, though. There's some in here that I think are definitely mediocre. I'm not a fan of the Power Patron Synchro, personally. I also don't... This spell card is absurdly bad. And really good Doom Z spell here. That's honestly maybe the biggest news in this entire batch is the new Doom Z card is kind of cracked. I don't know if that's the problem for Doom Z, like consistency and so on, but I've heard some people say like, yeah, Doom Z is kind of bricky. So maybe this is at least one of the things that was needed. Great card for sure.